Hi, everyone. We'll get started here in a few minutes.
Hi, everyone. I had a little trouble getting on.
Hello.
Hear me? Hi.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me.
Let's see.
Thanks. How are we doing on the quorum? I was just checking an email from you about something, Desiree. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have me.
Andrew.
Okay, I'll look at my next group here. Andrew, Joel, Helen, let's see, Joel and Andrew, and I'm sure that, let's see, is Savannah on yet? No, but
I don't see her yet.
I'm sure she'll be on. I'm just going to grab a Kleenex and then I'll be right back. Let me see something.
I'm sorry, I had trouble, but I'm here.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Pass through the kingdom of heaven.
Shall I message Savannah?
I'm here.
Oh, you are great. Thank you.
I need to leave right at 3 though, so.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of do too.
Yeah.
All right. So, and we're recording already, aren't we?
Yes.
I think so. I think we're ready to begin if everyone else is. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Call to order at 1 p.m. And I'll go ahead and do roll call. Terry Majewski is here. Savannah McDonald.
Here.
Joel Ireland.
Here.
Andrew Christopher.
Here.
Great, thank you. We have a full house. Item 2 is review and approval of the 8/14/2025 legal action report. Could I have a motion to approve as submitted, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank
Savannah?
you. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
Everyone's okay with it? All right. I will go ahead and call roll. Terry votes aye. Joel?
Yep.
Andrew? Did you say yes, Andrew? I didn't. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Savannah?
Aye.
Great. It passes unanimously 4-0. Thank you. Item 3 is summary of public comments. Do you have any, Desiree, that were received by the posted deadline?
No, Chair Majewski, we did not receive any public comment for this meeting.
Okay. Great. So we'll go ahead and start with item 4, historic preservation zone review cases that we review under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0/historic district design guidelines and the revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. Case 4A is Harold Bell Wright Park, and parcel number 133201320. It's a proposed fence along the portion of south perimeter of park. It's a courtesy review the Harold Bell Wright National Register Historic District. It's a contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. Before we begin, I just want to say that normally we would ask the Historic Landscape Subcommittee of the Commission to look at the case and provide us, just give us their feedback. But because of the tight time frame on this, and we intended, we wanted to review it quickly so the project could move forward. I asked the chair of the Historic Landscape Subcommittee to be in attendance today, Mr. Stephen Grady. And Steve, you're on, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and so Steve, I will call on you when we're having our discussion of this. So thank you very much for being here today. So Desiree, would you like to go ahead and give any background on this?
Yes, I'll go ahead and give some background. And before I do that, if I could ask everyone just as a courtesy, if you don't mind putting your name and affiliation in the chat, it helps us with our meeting minutes. So we
Thank you.
have this project in the Harold Bell Wright National Register Historic District. It's at the park, which is a contributing resource. There's a proposed 6-foot tall fence to be a chain link with a vinyl coating. And so today, to talk about the project, we have the Chief of Staff for Councilmember Paul Cunningham's office, Pat Burns, and there's also some representatives from the Parks Department, I believe. So I will pass this over to Mr. Burns. And I
Thank
can
you.
share my screen.
Welcome, Mr. Burns.
Thank you so much. And so Desiree, oh, perfect. Thank you, Desiree. Thanks everybody for having us. I know it's a last minute review, but we really appreciate you all expediting this. So we have Jasmine Chan as well, who will chime in from our Parks Department. And we also have Ian Milliken from, he's a County Historic Preservation Officer. He's also, I believe, chairman of the board for the St. Michael's Church and School, which borders the Harold Bell Wright Park. So just a little background, the Harold Bell Wright neighborhood, most of you probably are aware, it's the southeast quadrant, basically, of Speedway and Wilmot. And kind of on the southern, southwestern corner of the neighborhood, there's the Harold Bell Wright Park. There's also St. Michael's School. There's St. Joseph's Hospital, and there's the Wilmot Library. There's a lot going on in that part of the in the neighborhood there. And we recently renewed a lease agreement with the school and the city for the school to use the park during school hours. They have exclusive use to the fields for some portion of each day during the school year. And then they have some shared use of the playground equipment as well. And that just got approved a few months ago by the city council. It's a new 5-year agreement. And now we've turned to kind of a new discussion of this fence along a portion of the southern part of the park. And if you don't mind, I'll turn it over to Ian real quick to kind of give some reasoning on the school and why why they kind of brought this to us. I think a year or two ago, this idea for the fence, but Desiree's kind of scrolling through an aerial shot that I did, and that red line is basically the footprint of the fence. And so we'd leave an opening on the right-hand side, the southeastern corner of the park, so that pedestrians could still walk into that easement and go to the library or do whatever shopping they might want to do. And the other good news is we did get some concern about, you know, just your regular old boring chain link fencing. And so we've come up with a new option of material as well. But real quick, I'll let Ian kind of explain some of the reasoning behind the fence that a lot of the neighbors are on board with now as well. Ian, do you want to speak for just a couple minutes?
Sure. Well, hi, everyone. It's nice to be here on kind of wearing this hat. I do represent the school. I'm the chair of the board of trustees. And for basically about 2 years now, we've been softly trying to work towards this fence project. And it mainly, the genesis of it is out of the realm of safety. We have had considerable amount of very kind of scary events that have happened in this park, especially with the youth that use this park, students of the school. St. Michael's is a K through 8 school, actually TK through 8, so we have very youngins at the school. And within the past 2 years, we've had an incident that of a van pulling in and trying to get kids into the car. We've had an incident of children picking up hypodermic needles and puncturing themselves and having to be taken to emergency care. We've had incidents of unauthorized vehicles being parked there, and we've forged a relationship with the Tucson Police Department, and we've gotten increased visibility with the great help of Ward 2. We've met with the neighborhood several times as another stakeholder, obviously on the other side of it, because we are very mindful, as you all know, of the aesthetic feel of this park and the understanding of its historical integrity and also the historical sense of place that it represents. As you know, the school was just listed on the National Register last year. And so we want to be very mindful that what we're asking for is as minimal as an impact as it possibly can, but does fit the primary need to help kids keep our kids safe. Now, you might ask, why is a partial fence going to keep our kids safe? Well, in discussions with TPD and security analysts and independent security analysts, the greatest vulnerability are unfortunately folks that are coming out of the intensive care or emergency care unit at St. Joseph's Hospital. And so on this picture that you're seeing right here, if you follow that alley straight down, that is where the emergency room pushes people out that come in for any drug-related issues and so forth. And the first thing they see when they come out is this big open park straight ahead of them. And so in actually creating this perimeter, it creates a visual barrier that disincentivizes people from going kind of straight forward and seeing this open park. And it also creates a really nice kind of mitigation boundary for children that as they use the fields, there's a fence there to help contain, right? And even if it's not full containment, it's contain the kids in a barrier so that if a ball goes, it'll hit the fence before rolling out into the street and a kid running out to the street. And we have done everything we can on the school side to try to add extra people there and have monitors there and so forth. But inevitably, there are 300 kids at that school. And so having enough staffing to manage every single egress and entrance point on this park proves to be quite difficult. So a fence is welcome. And we've done a lot of work kind of in the planning of this, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ian. I'll go through just a couple more things and then happy to open it up to questions. I think I included some photos in the packet as well. Yeah, perfect. So that's a photo of kind of that open area that exists right now. So you're looking into some parking lot areas of St. Joseph's Hospital that Ian was mentioning. And that's really the primary area that we'd like this fence to be. If you scroll down a little more, I think I included a couple other photos. So this is kind of looking west, sort of the fence. We would have a site meeting pretty soon with Parks and Rec, and obviously we'd get the area blue staked as well. We're not totally sure if the alignment would be to the left of those poles or to the right. We'd definitely try and keep it a little further away from those trees so as not to damage any roots. But that's basically where the fence would go. And then I think I have one last photo included. So that kind of hedge and fence there is sort of on the other side of that easement, and that's maintained by St. Joseph's Hospital, actually. So the fence we're proposing will kind of overlap that existing fence while keeping the easement intact, of course. And that'll provide a really good visual barrier, like Ian was saying. St. Joseph's just added that kind of shade screen, actually. They just zip tied that to that chain link fence, which I think makes it look a little nicer visually as well. And then they just did some upgrades to the irrigation system, so that hedge is looking a lot better than it did last year. And our intent actually, as the Ward 2 office, Councilmember Cunningham has committed some office funds to plant some a native hedge in front of the fence that will go in as well, so as to kind of dress it up a little bit more over the next couple of years. And then let's go down. And then these are some photos from the bid packet from Canyon Fence Company. Just sort of a rendering kind of as what the fence will look like when installed with some of the hedges, with the hedge planted in front of it. We've decided that the fence would carry a little further east than in these photos, but we still want to leave about
Terry, I can't, on my computer, I can't see these pictures. Am I the only one?
No, you might be the only one. Is your camera on?
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's all right. This looks fine to me anyway, but go ahead. Yeah. Never mind.
Sorry about that. But we do want to keep about a 15-foot gap in between the end of this proposed fence and the kind of end of the park, sort of on that southeast area, for plenty of room for pedestrian traffic. And also there may be a future bike boulevard that goes through this eastern end of the park. And so we want to keep that opening for that possibility as well. So I've already spoken with Andy Bemis and a couple of others at Department of Transportation and Mobility, and they think that 15-foot gap is sufficient for any future bike boulevard that might go through there also. And then if we scroll back up to the bid that Canyon Fence provided St. Michael's, we kind of get into the material that'll be used. Like I said, there was some hesitancy and some pushback on just kind of your regular old chain link fence, and I totally understand that. I think a lot of the folks at the school do as well. And so this is called a privacy link fence. It is a little more rigid than your normal chain link. It is actually dipped in a vinyl material, so it has kind of a vinyl coating, and then it has security slats that go through. So it's kind of more of a uniform look. It would be green. That's the color that folks on the neighborhood board seem to like, and I think the school as well. And then, like I said, next year our intent is to send some money towards our Parks and Rec department to plant maybe a native hedge in front of this fence that over the next few years will look really nice and hopefully be on some irrigation as well. So that's kind of where we're at. Ian and Jasmine, did I miss anything big before we take some questions?
I don't think so. Jasmine?
No, didn't miss anything, Pat.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, thank you. I just wanted to ask, the main entrance where people usually come into the park is not on this alley, right? Or it's not like set up to be this alley, or is it?
No, the main entrance is the kind of northeast part of the park. There's about, I think, a dozen parking spaces as well off of that curve of Shepherd Hills. So we're not putting any fencing anywhere near there. That'll remain open. And I think that was part of some of the neighbors' concern a couple of years ago as well, as they thought we were going to fence the whole park. And we really just want to do this kind of southern chunk here, as you know, for some safety and security reasons, like Ian explained.
And remind me again what the height of the fence is?
6 feet.
6 feet, okay.
And just to provide a little bit more context, so the east side of the park right there has a bunch of oleanders, but it is fenced, chain link fence. And then the very north side of the park, past the playground, that stretch is fenced as well with chain link fence, basic chain link fence separating the private property from the city park. So there is already some precedent of fence being there, but it's basic chain link.
But my point is that many viewpoints show the entirety of the park. I mean, if you stood there, you know, and walked past that clump of trees by the parking area, you could look back toward the playground. You could look back toward the proposed fence, and then look west as well. Correct? Yeah,
Correct.
and see what's there.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, okay, so let's go ahead, commissioners, and start with questions. And then when we're done with questions, I want to ask the chair of the Historic Landscape Subcommittee what his thoughts are. And we're providing courtesy feedback here.
Yeah, I can go first, Terry.
Go ahead, please, Andrew.
Yep. So yeah, I think you all have made the case pretty well for the necessity of the fence, or some sort of barrier here for sure. I was looking through the nomination form, and there's a ton of different landscape options listed as, you know, original to the character of the neighborhood. Everything from retained desert to Mediterranean exotic and everything in between. So I think it's great the Historic Landscapes folks are here today. Maybe they'll have some good recommendations for you on what that hedge is. In the one question I have, in the design process here, were there any other solutions that you guys considered, maybe like a water retention basin or like heavy rock or any other sort of interventions that may prevent like people from walking across it?
On our end, not any GSI. I think part of the easement needs to be kept open as a fire lane. So there's kind of a tight area there that might prevent any GSI. And but you know, I would think that if a bike boulevard came through the eastern end in the future, that if there was a opportunity to add some green stormwater infrastructure along that, we would definitely look into that then. I was just talking to Blue Baldwin yesterday, and their department really likes to try and tie in projects at the same time as DTM projects to save on costs and everything. So, you know, that could be an option in the future if that bike boulevard ends up going through the eastern end of the park.
Yeah, I think that would be my suggestion, is not necessarily that you need to do it as part of the scope of this fence, but maybe just do some planning around the future integration of that. And
Sure.
that may give you another level of security too, where people can't be posted up right against the fence either, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no, we'll definitely keep that in mind. And I'm a huge fan of our storm to shade department. It's, you know, the GSI stuff that we're doing across the city is honestly one of my favorite things that we're doing. So
Yeah.
definitely keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yep. That was all my comments. Oh, sure.
Sorry, I was just going to chime in. So one thing to keep in mind that is that this is truly, I mean, while it is a park, it is also being utilized as our primary athletic field. And so what you're not seeing behind that clump of trees is there's a backstop for a baseball diamond. This turns into a flag football field that is actually 4 feet too short for regulation. And so the development of, while we are completely in support of any green water infrastructure and other methods, the reason we went for a fence is that it's a pretty narrow opening, and we need to retain as much room on that field for the athletic purposes, which is what the agreement that we have with the city is based on.
That's
Yeah,
useful
okay.
knowledge.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel or Savannah, who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay, thank you.
So I know this park well. I used to live in Harold Bell Wright when I was associated with the church, and I just graduated from St. Michael's School 2 years ago. And I just have a question. This seems all fine to me. As you go down the alley and you see the parking lot there at St. Joseph's Emergency Room, was there a gate across the alleyway? My memory is there was a gate across the alleyway. If you go straight down the private property fence, there was a double gate there that you had to unlock to get down the alley to go on the south side of Harold Bell Wright. Are those gates still there, or are they long gone? Or
They are still there. They're kind of a little beyond the southeast corner of the park in that alleyway, and I think one of the keys is in, or possibly the only key is in possession of St. Joseph's. And as part of the planned area development agreement from many years ago, they maintain sort of a landscape barrier in that alleyway between them and the neighborhood. And I will say, a few years ago, they weren't doing a great job of maintaining that. And they got a new CEO who has been there for a few years now. Her name's Monica. She's really great. She got a new kind of maintenance head. And I really think the last year or so, they've done a much better job of maintaining that privacy screen of hedges and trees. They put in a new irrigation system. They replaced some of the dead trees, and it's looking a lot better than it used to. But yeah, long story short, that gate is still there.
Okay. So my only comment then is, you've obviously done your homework and I support this. But until they put a bike path in, I would go all the way and fence it, close it off. But that's just a personal opinion. Great project. Appreciate you bringing it, Ian, forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Savannah?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the presentation, opportunity to review. I think it's a compelling case. I like the term native hedge, so I'm I'm interested to see what that turns into, especially Steve Grady, if you've got recommendations there or advice. But thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. Yeah, on the eastern edge of the park that runs north-south, there's an oleander hedge that we think was actually planted by some neighbors many decades ago, but now it's kind of part of the park. I actually used to do landscaping many years ago. I'm not the biggest fan of oleanders, actually. I'd really love to see the southern hedge maybe be hopseed or something like that, something that has some more native roots, or rosewood, or there's a few options there. But we're happy to do whatever kind of the neighbors land on, and Parks and Rec as well.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hear from Steve Grady, who's chair of the Historic Landscape Subcommittee. And what are your thoughts, Steve?
So we haven't had an opportunity to review this project because of the timing. Traditionally, when we review a project, we take a look at the character defining features of the historic landscape, and then we take a look at how the proposal may impact those character defining features. So when I take a look at this, personally, I see a Mediterranean landscape, not unusual for the period of construction of this park. There are a number of parks in the city of Tucson with similar characteristics. The open characteristic of the playfield and the turf is definitely a character defining feature, and it's being maintained. One of the things that we do look at, or one aspect, is view sheds and visibility. And this definitely changes that characteristic. The view shed from the park out is of a parking lot and emergency room. That's not something that we may want to maintain. But the view from the south in is something that we would take a look at. But when we look at, there's no residential, and it is screened on the eastern portion from between the parking lot and the park anyway. And my assumption is that that easement, the east-west easement that's partially paved to the west, separates the park from land owned by the hospital. Is that the case?
Yes, it is. And I think, if memory serves correct, kind of down there south of the school is an old Tucson water site as well. But I think that was sold to the hospital also many years ago. And it's just kind of walled off, and next to it is kind of that parking lot as well.
So a park that's open visually from the north and the south will be modified to a park that's only visually has visual connection from the north. So that's something that we would look at. Also, we would look at the materials. The height, 6 feet, is definitely something that is a barrier, visual barrier as well as a physical barrier. The material of chain link, and especially something as modern as vinyl clad with slats, is something we've never run across before, because it's traditionally not something introduced into historic parks. It's a strong screening mechanism, but it is not something that is that we have addressed before, because it's not something that we would have found necessarily in the historic period of this park. So again, compelling reason, but something that is a pretty major impact, potentially something that could be an intrusion into the park. The hedge of native vegetation would be something more appropriate to the outside, not the park side of the, unless the native vegetation was selected to mimic, as you had mentioned, rosewood or hopseed, mimic size, texture, color, proportion of plant material that would have historically been used or is historically used within the park. So it's completely functional. It meets all of the needs, the vinyl clad 6-foot chain link fence with slats. It is visually background looking from the north to the south, but it is a feature. So that is how we would address it. And I wish we had precedent for the incorporation of chain link to other projects we have reviewed, but this is the first that we have.
Steve, not to interrupt, but I think on the east side, Pat, didn't you say that fence that runs north-south on the east side between the park and those residences, that is the chain link as well?
It is.
Yeah, and Steve, I think, Desiree, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you asked SHPO about it, and it wouldn't be considered anything that would affect the eligibility of the park, right? Correct?
That is correct, Chair. They didn't have any issue with the proposed fence.
Yeah. And one thing, Steve, I liked was that you could still get that view of the park through that southeastern opening. But, you know, certainly it's a new material. This type of fence, you know, takes a lot to install, but it's also reversible in a sense, as is any of the fencing, but.
Terry, this is Joel. I'd like to make a comment because I kind of agree with Steve about partially about the chain link. The only thing that gave me any pause at all was the coating on the chain link and the slats. Because starting about, I would say starting about Craycroft or even Swan, these slatted chain link fence begin to appear in Tucson, but they're not strongly until about Kolb Road. So this kind of transition part, I would have preferred naked, old-fashioned galvanized chain link, but I think this is still doesn't intrude or offend any historic principles. So, you know, I get what you're saying.
Terry, Chair Majewski, may I add something?
Yes, please.
So I laugh, Joel, because it is in this 2-year discussion, that was the original proposal, was to come in with bare chain link. And the school was like, look, it is the function of it, unless we want to minimize the visual.
Yeah.
And the many of the neighbors were very concerned with having a bare chain link fence because they thought it would be very obtrusive. And so it has evolved into having this very kind of more ornate than necessary to provide its function. But I can tell you that it would be, if that is part of the formal recommendation moving forward, Desiree and Pat, that may be a non-starter with the neighbors. I don't know.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and I agree with you. I the only thing that tipped me off that was I was concerned about the coating on the chain link and the slats, but if the neighbors wanted it, it doesn't to me offend any historical principles, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
And these are different than your, you know, flimsy slats that you would see in chain link 20 or 30 years ago. These are a much better material that have a much longer lifespan and even warranty on them. And so it is kind of an updated version of that. And because you know, obviously I remember seeing those slats around town when I was a kid and they'd be falling apart and stuff. So this is a better material than that. And yeah, the neighbors were very concerned about just your kind of regular old gray chain link fence and so yeah, we thought this was a good way to go.
Good deal.
May I ask what the slat material is? I think it's in the information that was provided, but I was curious about that.
Yeah, if we zoom in on that.
I believe it's vinyl, correct? Oh, the slats. Is that what you're asking? Vinyl coated.
It's the HDPE, high density polyurethane, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Pat, in a courtesy review, we you know, we provide suggested feedback, but I think ultimately we'd like to say, you know, a little more that, I mean, I for one agree with it. I mean, I struggled with, you know, the sort of the density of it and, you know, blocking the view shed, but you do have that opening on the southeast, and I think it's not the primary entrance to the park. That was my thought, and I understand, and you know, I really wanted a technical look at it from a landscape perspective from Steve, so that you kind of understand where we're coming from. That this isn't just, you know, that we feel this is a valuable discussion for a listed park, right? It's listed, right? It's not just eligible.
Absolutely.
It's a contributor, yeah. And so Does anyone disagree with me that, is it okay to say that we're in support of this?
Generally in support.
Yeah, I think we're generally in support. I think I would agree with Joel though that a naked chain link fence, I think whatever we do here is gonna interrupt the view shed from the south. That's a given. But the view shed from the north looking into the park, I think a naked fence really starts to go away in the background. And a solid vinyl slat fence is gonna read like an opaque surface and have more visual intrusion. And then just looking at the precedent for other chain links on the east and north, they have kind of vegetation integrated to them that helps them go away a bit. So I think that would be my recommendation, but I'm in support of the fence in general.
And we don't know, like Pat, didn't you say that you didn't know where you would plant the additional shrubs, like on the inside or the outside of the fence, right?
Yeah, we don't know that for sure. Our initial thought was to plant them on the inside, the park side of the fence, kind of like they are in other parts of the park. To sort of
And those aren't necessarily fast growing, so in 5 years they would come to the top of the
right.
chain, right. So I mean that's just something. But I think the whole point of it is to really have a barrier there, not just.
Yeah, I think because of the unique.
Barrier.
Yeah, I think because of the unique nature of how this park gets used and the shared use agreement that the city has with the school, which as far as I know is maybe the only agreement that is like that in the city. And their security concerns and now honestly some of the neighbors' kind of security concerns is why this is coming up.
Mm-hmm. But I think for the record, we also want to say that this isn't a precedent, and Jasmine just put that in your notes for for future discussion of parks.
Sounds good.
And just, it's really important to have these contextual discussions, even though we can't make our decisions only on security needs. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have to balance them with what would happen to the integrity of the property, and we appreciate you coming to us. And Savannah, did you have any final comments? Because I asked everyone else.
No, I'm good.
Okay, anyone else want to say any last remarks? We appreciate everyone being on, and Ian, I can't get used to you being in another role. I mean, I'm sorry. Because we work together closely in other areas, and so but sometimes we do talk about our children going to schools like this. So
yes,
we have a lot of connection points. So anyway, thank you everyone and good luck. Thank you, Steve, for your feedback. Okay.
Thanks everybody.
Right,
yeah, bye now.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4B, which is SD 0625-00088/TC-COM 0325-00483 at 180 North Main Avenue, parcel 117110270. It's an adaptive reuse and historic renovation for the J. Knox Corbett House for the Tucson Museum of Art. There's significant repair work from fire damage throughout. Though it remains in A3 occupancy, it is being updated from an exhibit to a small event space. It's a full review. It's in the El Presidio Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. And seems like the staff contact is Michael Taku. And Michael, would you like to give background on this project, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just as is stated in the agenda, this used to be a residential home, which was turned into an event space by the Tucson Museum of Art. About 2 years or so ago, there was some fire damage to this structure. And so we are here today to find out what the Tucson Museum of Arts are going to do for that fire damage. As part of the renovation due to the fire damage, they are also proposing to change what used to be the exhibit space into a community, a small community center, in which they are going to have meeting rooms, catering kitchen, the patio. They are going to update the restrooms from residential use to commercial use. And there's going to be some ADA fixtures that are going to be done. And the drinking fountain is also going to be part of that restoration. But as part of your preview today, which you are going to be looking at the exterior modifications that are being proposed, due to the fire damage, they will have to have a new roof. They will be replacing the eaves and the fascia, and they'll have some downspouts. And also they will have to repair the rafter tails. And they are proposing to salvage the existing tiles for future reuse, and there will be some window replacement. This particular project was reviewed by Air Procedure as a courtesy on August the 7th, 2024. And PRS also reviewed this project as a courtesy on September 12th, 2024. Air Procedure later on reviewed it as a full review on July 30th, 2025, and voted 6-0 to recommend approval as presented. So you are seeing the same plans that Air Procedure reviewed at its July 30th meeting. If there's any question for staff, I may answer. If not, I will turn it to Karina of BWS Architects, who is going to present the project today.
All right, Karina, I have just a question for Michael. Michael, I recall that Desiree said that even though El Presidio passed a motion unanimously, they had concerns about how the exterior renovations would impact the interior. You know, Desiree, do you remember what you told me? They had a couple things in their discussion.
I don't recall saying that about this project. I'm not sure if that was this project.
Maybe I'm confused
Maybe.
with another one that had a roof, but my concern about this building is that normally we don't review the interior, but
Yes.
this is a really unique building. This house was built as an arts and crafts house using materials that weren't usually used in arts and crafts. So it was a really interesting Western adaptation of that. And I don't know how many people have been on the interior. So I just wanted to bring that up. So anyway,
Yes.
go ahead, Karina, and you're from BWS, correct?
Yes, I was involved as a project architect. And then also on the call today, we have John Wallace and Christopher Gordon, owners representatives, so they can
From the
also,
museum.
yes, they can chime in on anything else we might be covering about the intention of the use and so forth.
Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
Go ahead and share. Okay. Yep. So actually, I have up both the submittal that we made for the historical review and as well as just the documents, the full documents. So it is staying as an A3. What the museum had been occupying it as was as an exhibition space, part of the museum exhibition space, and they had it put back into its period as a residence for patrons to go through and view the home. But since within the last few years, they hired us to do some studies on it about how to get a better use out of the building for its current with its current placement on the site with the museum. And so what we came to was using it as a small exhibit space because sometimes they get maxed out on their, or not exhibit space, an assembly space for small events, lectures, weddings, and so forth. In that time, there was a fire on the south side of the building that has caused some extensive damage. So not only did it become renovating it to bring it up to more commercial standards for restroom use and so forth, but we also have repair work. As far as the site goes, we just submitted the development package that had previously been approved. We're not changing any of the parking or site elements. Any repair work that does need to be done on the site is planning to be put back to the way it is now. When we started looking at this space as an A3 space, it's a multi-story building, we found that we needed to add sprinklers, which is not a bad idea since they recently had a fire. And originally, because their current water line comes off of Main Avenue, we were going to try to tie in the fire riser there as a most direct route. However, in reviewing with the city, they've asked us to tie into the water on Washington Road. And part of that replacement, it's a 4-inch line, but they've asked us to replace all the way into Main Avenue to create a 6-inch line and then tee off with our line and a 4-inch line that will go through the parking lot and part of the sidewalk. So on this elevation, there will be the FDC. That's a change that it doesn't have currently. Let's see if I have the floor plan. Oh, photograph of what the building originally looked like. The saltillo tiles and the roof pitches we are not changing. We are temporarily changing them to repair them because of the fire damage in the rafters. The existing framing cannot support the roof loads. When you walk by now, you can see it's starting to sag. Yeah, so and just things, the fire just caused a lot of damage on the south side, so we'll be replacing the awnings. We'll be doing some repair work with the balustrades, but mainly putting back the exterior as it is. I think, let's see. Yeah, and so as part of our plan, just looking a little bit on the interior, there was 2 storage rooms that are just empty rooms that we'll be converting into women's and men's restroom and making those ADA compliant. We'll leave the existing fixtures. There's a bathtub and toilets in these 2 rooms. Could be like brides and grooms changing rooms. Those will just remain as is. Let's see. And so the catering kitchen, we'll be doing just a little bit of renovation work, but we're going to leave in the existing sink and counters. And the new fire riser is going to sit in a current pantry or storage room. But mainly we're just going to fix what's there. We're going to try to put back any damaged flooring from the fires. That's the main floor is where the events will be. The basement, there's the mechanical equipment all needs to be replaced. And we're going to be shoring everything up because the current structure cannot support the loads for current code. As well as the second floor that used to be sleeping rooms with a sleeping porch. There's damage up there. So we'll be just bringing those to current codes with added insulation and refinishing those the floors and
Will the
walls and
floors remain
ceiling
the same?
for what we can salvage. Yes.
Oh, but it would be replaced in kind.
Yes.
Okay, and okay, go ahead. I do have another question, but I'll wait till the question time.
Okay. Originally, when I think because we did meet with some of the reviewers here today about the courtyard. There's an old bottleneck skylight that brings light, natural light down into the basement. well, we're gonna just leave that in place. But we are currently, the stairs down to the basement aren't to code. We can't get them to code with the existing heights of the floor and basement. But we are gonna replace those with steel stairs and put a metal cover and the finish of the metal will match the trim of the existing building, which is like a hunter or dark green. So it has a proper cover. This building, before the Tucson Museum of Art took it over, had other owners that had made some changes over the years. So I think that the original covers that are on the basement level stairs are not, it's just a piece of plywood right now. If we get funding, we don't have it in the funding at the moment, but if we do, there's some existing stairs that go up to that second story on the east side of the building that are in very poor condition. It's not a required stair exit, so we don't show them being replaced. But if they do, we would propose replacing them with metal stair, and again, just with the dark green color, but just bring it to current code.
Okay, are those the ADA updates or they're separate exterior ADA updates?
I think that's the main ADA updates. Going back to our design package, these were just some photos. If hopefully everyone's gotten a chance to view those, just of looking into the site, looking out of the site. You can see where the fire damage is. So we'll just be replacing like for like, including with the gutters, eaves, fascia. Right now, the basement openings do not have, I don't believe they're original covers on them. So we're proposing putting metal grating back in there, leaving it exposed, open. All the insulation is going to happen under the floorboards. And you can see they've been salvaging some of those tiles. If budget allows, and our structural engineer did design for, because the mission tiles have a heavier load than the asphalt shingles. These are existing. This is what it has. And I think I think originally it did have the Saltillo tiles, or the mission style tiles on the east side of the building as well. I think they were taken off at one time and replaced with the asphalt shingles. But with the new framing that we're putting in, then if budget allows, we could put the clay tiles all around. Otherwise, at this point in time, we're planning on just replacing like for like with the asphalt tiles on the east side of the building as well. And these are the stairs that are in poor condition that I was showing you in plan. There is going to be some mechanical equipment replaced in this yard, but it's going to have the same screen that it currently has. Yeah, these are the elevations of what we're proposing. Just repairing stucco, repairing the existing wood balustrades at the front. The colors would be the same. This was our map from the development zone map that it is contributing. And then there's just some renderings of what we envision the space will be when it's used as an event space. And then our color board, tile, some of the paints, these paints are from the interiors, but the exterior would have we would just ask them to match what's already there, both for the field color and the trim colors. And the awnings we would replace like for like what's there. And that's think that I covered all the major points of what our intent is.
Okay, before I ask for questions, I just want to ask you, are the built-in cabinets and I think like bookcases or framed areas are they still in the interior?
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's even it's like a credenza. John, I
Okay.
believe you said it was part of the original homestead, the people that built the house. So they're gonna protect this and refinish it and probably remove it during construction, but bring it back.
But the bookcases and any other built-in things will
Yes.
remain?
Yep. In the
Okay.
pantry. Yes, we're just gonna keep all of that. I mean, these two rooms where we're doing the major renovation, where the restrooms are, there's
Mhm.
it's just storage.
Mhm.
They currently have wood floors that are in poor condition. We would of course need to tile those for a commercial restroom. I think we would just go over the either replacing or replacing the existing wooden slats or wooden floorboards in there.
And then covering it with tile?
Yes, but keeping it up on joists because that'll be easier for the contractor to be less invasive with the new plumbing.
Right.
Same with this used to be a closet opening onto this. I think this was a bedroom maybe at one time. This will become the janitor's closet because we'll need the mop sink.
It might have been even a servant's bedroom too.
Yes.
So I would just suggest if it's not too much trouble and don't go, hiring like a professional photographer, but, photograph these interiors so that you have a record of what was changed or remained, because that could be useful in the future if people plan to make other things. But I appreciate that you're trying to save the, the built-in aspects that really make it look so arts and crafts on the interior and the exterior as well. But so, okay, so who would like to go next?
I can go. I just had a few questions.
Okay.
It mentions on the elevations replacing glass, wood trim for windows. Are there any full replacements or anything like that? It also mentioned there was one of the windows completely damaged in the fire. Could you identify which one that is?
Yes. I'll get back to my elevations. On the south side, so there's these two windows. And where the new bathrooms are going to be, we're also proposing, for privacy, to put in a privacy film that could be removed in future, but a privacy film on those windows, which would be, you could see that from the outside probably, but.
Okay, so in this elevation, some of these are new and some of these are existing?
Yes. They would just be matching what's there.
Okay.
For
So
repair work and replacing.
You said two of those are replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
These two, and then this one has some repair work.
Okay, and the replacements, do they have the same operation?
Yeah, it would be.
So is it single hung or double hung wood?
Single hung wood.
Okay. I think because this kind of stuff isn't noted on the drawings, we should either have it noted or we include it in our motion that we discussed it, and that's how we assume it to proceed.
Okay.
And the rest of my questions are similar, right? You said you basically answered them, but they're just not on the drawings. So I think we just need to make sure they're probably in our motion or added to the drawing. So is it stucco? I mean, I see there's some exposed masonry too, but it's a stucco finish.
Mm-hmm.
And are you repairing it, repainting it? What's the
Yes.
finish? sinks to finish to match
Yeah.
existing? Is it like a
Yeah.
sand finish or?
Yes, it's gonna be replacing to match existing, and Arthur Stables, I don't know if you know him. I think
I
he
do.
sat on this board once.
Yeah, we
I know
So
Arthur
he
very
wrote the
well.
specs for this entire project, okay? So he has like a lot of details in the actual, and I know you only got to see certain drawings, but in the full package we have that. And we've
Yeah,
been
we
working
didn't-
with the
Okay.
contractor too. The contractor's
Yeah.
already on board. So
See, we always need to see, just FYI, who's ever giving us these, we need to see because we have to review those details. And so
Okay.
it's helpful for us. So I think, Savannah, the motion should say recap and say, be sure that the final plans include all the details. And I'm sure they will. It's just,
Yeah,
this is too
sure.
important. I mean, there's too much missing that in what we're seeing, right? Even if it's not on the other drawings, right? So, okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. Okay, so it's a sand finish. The color is gonna match the existing. Same with the wood trim. You're gonna match existing colors. Okay.
Yes.
And then you think you mentioned it too, when you were going over the photographs, that the asphalt shingles that are specified, they match the existing. Is that right? The kind of the reddish.
Yes.
Okay. And then same with the balustrades. There's going to be some repair to those, and you're just going to match.
Yeah,
existing.
the concrete ones really are not damaged. It's just these wood ones in the front. And I think they have a
Okay.
wider spacing than is what is acceptable for current code. So we'll just make that a 4-inch spacing and
Okay.
repair it so that it's very similar to what was the original. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, what a neat project. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Andrew or Joel?
This Joel, I agree with Savannah's remarks, and I just have I should maybe know that what caused the fire? What was the fire? Just out of interest.
There was a dumpster next to the building was caught on fire by some unhoused.
So somebody purposely set it on fire. Yeah.
Purposely or not, it was set on fire, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. That's just an interest question. Otherwise, it looks great to me, but I agree with Savannah's remarks that specifics are everything. So thanks. Good job.
Thank you, Joel. Andrew.
Sure. On the roof plan, can you clarify which elevations will have tile and which will have asphalt? I think I know, but
Yes, I can. Do you want me to go to the actual roof plan from our
if you
drawing
have
set?
it, yeah.
So I think at one time when this was the art college that they had enclosed this courtyard. And so maybe they had removed the tiles and the tiles were never recovered. But right now it's this roof, the high roof of the sleeping porch, and then there's like a dormer or pop-out window that has the asphalt shingles. But the
Okay.
rest would be the mission tiles.
Okay. And you're planning to salvage and reuse the tile that you can?
Yes, and we even did some research to find some that match if budget would allow them to replace the entire roof with tile, that's a possibility. But for now, this is what we're doing. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, if you end up having that budget, that'd be awesome. I'd be curious, like on the sleeping porch, what that may have had originally, just because I think it's the only like gable roof on the whole thing, so it feels later or like an addition at some point. So are you, for the rafter tails, are you essentially cutting off the existing and then reattaching them as tails to the new roof framing?
Yes. Let's see. I have some roof details. Well, this shows the existing attic openings. Yes. Yeah, we, let's see. The open, they are kind of an ornate, the piece on the ends. I don't,
Mhm.
I would have to ask somebody else in our office, but I think because he kind of researched into that, but I think that they're just nailed onto the rafters.
Oh, okay. So they're already just decorative tails nailed on. So you
I
can
believe so.
you'll reuse whatever you can and then reproduce what's missing.
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
We'll use the existing as our model to replace
Awesome.
it.
Okay. The the sprinkler system, is it like a dry system or are you gonna have a full riser room with
Yes.
with okay. So there's no new exterior access or anything proposed to that, right? It's just a standpipe.
Yes. Well, there'll be an FDC, but and you will see it on the north elevation.
Mhm.
In these plans, we don't, let's see. In these plans, we just show it as a simple little pipe, you know, it could be,
Okay.
I think we would just paint it to match the stucco. So it's not just
Yeah.
standing out as much as we could. I don't know if the fire department would
Yeah.
require it to be yellow or red, but so they can easily find it, but
Yeah.
for
No,
the pipe itself, I
that's
think it
fine.
would just, yeah.
That's fine. I was just confirming we weren't doing like a riser room accessed from the outside or anything in that
No,
opening.
we thought we would have to do that when we were originally proposing it on the south side of the building, but they said that it wasn't required when we met with the fire marshal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Then on my last question, it was on the elevations sheet, keynote 508. It says, I believe it says like metal infill panels
Mm-hmm.
and insulation at the existing openings. Can you just
Sure.
describe what's there now and what it'll look like?
So in the original design, there's oval wood openings, and you can see them in other buildings around the neighborhood with this
Mhm.
architect, and it has a screen on it because the attic was open for it was open to vent.
Yeah.
So we're proposing to put the insulation, the R38 insulation in the rafters
Mhm.
and closing those off, but not closing them off so that you could see it from the exterior, just closing it off. Let me get back to my roof details. So the existing screens or those that need to be repaired from the fire damage could be repaired, and that's what you would see from the exterior, but on the interior there would be, or inside of the opening, there would be the brake metal with insulation to close it off. So that, because the new insulation is going to, instead of sitting on top of the ceiling, it's going to be under the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Cool.
that is another change. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, this all looks great to me. I'm glad you guys are able to save it, and I wish you luck.
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you.
So Savannah, have you been taking notes? You have that look of having taking notes, or do you
I
want to
had,
review?
yeah, I have the notes just based on the questions I had. Again, it was just to make sure, to confirm really. And one thing that came up, are there any changes to doors? All doors are existing to remain?
That's a good question. Well, where the existing doors are into those storage rooms. Well, okay, so this is the new door, the hatch door. It's going to be metal, like a metal hatch that, like for basement, that you
Oh, okay.
don't see them much out here because we don't have very many basements. Because right now it's just a piece of aging plywood. We don't have the original doors that were there. We are preserving the existing bottle glass skylight. And then these two doors, the restroom, the existing door that was be in the men's restroom is located right here. We're going to infill that with frame, so it could be reversed in the future, because this is where we're going to bring the plumbing down or plumbing up from underneath, and the stucco will just match. And there's going to be a new door, and then same with the women's restroom. But
So
the style of the doors is probably what you're interested in. Let me
well,
get to
is
that
the
sheet.
new door where there previously was a door, or was it a window?
I've actually, let's see. Let me get to the demolition plans. So that is a current door that's going to be removed, and we're going to have a toilet there now. So there would be a new opening at one location. That isn't a current opening. That had to do with swinging the door out and the posts. We couldn't get it to meet ADA.
Right,
There's
okay,
going
so
to be one new door, yes.
one new door, new opening
New opening.
completely.
Three
Okay.
three new doors.
Oh,
Thank you.
so
But only one new opening.
Yes, and on our door schedule, it's also we wanted them to match. It's gonna match what's there.
What's there? Okay.
Okay, so these are these
I don't even-
existing wood? I mean, sorry,
Yes.
the existing were wood, and you're gonna provide new wood panels?
Yes. Yeah. There's also sorry, there's also damaged doors upstairs from the fire, and those will be replaced as well.
On
In
the
kind?
exterior?
Yes. Yes, in kind.
On the exterior?
No, on the interior.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's happening on the exterior?
Just the doors that I pointed out, the hatch that goes to the basement, and then the doors into the new restrooms.
No, but I mean on the exterior of the building outside. Like that we would see from the exterior. Are there any doors, any treatments of doors that are happening?
There's some repair work that needs to be done on the existing historic front doors
Okay.
that faces the street.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think it's just repairing
But
existing.
no replacement or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Can you
What-
go back? Can you go back to the janitor closet one real
Yes.
quick? Is that a window right now? That opening?
Actually,
It's a door.
I apologize. It's
It's
been
a
a little
door.
while since I looked at
Yep.
these.
Okay.
John knows the building. John and Christopher know the building better than I do. But yeah, this is what it is right now. It was a bedroom with a closet. So
So there is a door there. It's
There,
just-
yeah, so there's only one, Karina mentioned the one door on that south side, south facing north wing, if you will.
yeah.
That is going to be infilled in a new opening. Everything else is an existing opening, with matching like doors.
And what's the detail for the infill?
Well, we would infill with, I think we're using wood studs and the plaster finish.
Okay, so you're matching exterior finish with the infill. I mean, sometimes we like to see, especially just a little evidence, kind of a little storytelling of what used to be there. So if hold, or like to see the infill either held back an inch or something, just so you kind of can see the original opening. I don't know if my fellow commissioners care about this in this particular case. It's just kind of a nice reminder of what used to be there, provides a little interest, but just so it doesn't get erased, right? Is the idea.
Okay.
I
What
agree.
do you guys
Either,
think?
yeah, I agree. Either a little, reveal or a control joint or something, and then
Yeah.
if it'd be possible to like salvage that door and store it in the basement or something so that it's there if someone wants to put it back in the future, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Good comments.
Okay, so Savannah, do you want to go through what you might put in a motion?
Yes. Okay. All right, so confirming the following design comments also to be included in the submission documents. I have 2 replacement windows to be single hung wood to match original, 3 new exterior doors to be wood panel to match original, infilled opening to have a reveal or control joint to indicate original opening, existing exterior colors to match existing stucco repair finish to match existing, new asphalt shingles to match existing, wood and concrete balustrade repair to match existing with minor spacing adjustment to meet current code, and exterior fire riser painted to match the stucco.
Okay. Does that sound good? Was that your formal or that was just your draft?
That was my draft. Did I miss anything? Did I?
Yeah. Is there more, everyone? Are you good with that, Andrew and Joel?
I think I'm good with that. On the asphalt shingle one, maybe include the clay tile as well.
Okay. But the clay tile replacements match existing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I did see that on the plan, so that's why I was.
It wasn't, Karina had mentioned they may expand or they may replace some of the asphalt with tile. Do we want to give them that freedom in the motion?
Yeah.
I think that's smart to, leave that up to if they're able to do that.
And then, so roofs currently with shingles may be replaced with the clay tile to match.
Yeah. Then do you guys care about salvaging that removed door and storing it on site?
I like that.
I think it's a great
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can add that for sure.
Would you clarify just the doors that are in serviceable condition, not the doors that are damaged?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say retain any salvageable doors and store on site. Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Or are we ready for Savannah to officially make that motion?
All right. On the matter of SD-0625-00088/TC-COM-0325-00483 at 180 North Main Avenue, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented, including confirming the following design comments, also to be included in the submission documents. That the 2 replacement windows to be single hung wood to match original, that the 3 new exterior doors to be wood panel to match original, the infilled opening to have a reveal or control joint to indicate the original opening, and to retain any salvageable doors to store on site, existing exterior colors to match existing stucco repair finish to match existing, new asphalt shingles to match existing, clay tile replacements to match existing, roofs currently with shingles may be replaced with clay tile to match, wood and concrete balustrade repair to match existing with minor spacing adjustment to meet current code, and exterior fire riser painted to match the stucco.
Is there a second?
Yep, I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the roll. Terry votes aye. Joel?
Yes.
Andrew?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Great, the motion passes unanimously 4-0. And Karina and folks from the museum, I'm sure you know the next steps.
Actually, this was my first historic review.
Okay. Desiree, can you get with her or Michael afterwards? Because I'm sorry, we just have a really tight
No problem.
remainder of the meeting that doesn't look long, but it is.
I appreciate all your time today and thoughts and comments.
It's a great project, so thank you and say hello to Arthur for us.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Karina, just contact us and we'll tell you the
Yeah,
next
they'll
steps.
give you the good lowdown.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, item 5 is current issues for information discussion. 5A is minor reviews. What do we have on minor reviews?
Oh. I think I go first. I can do a rundown of the minor reviews that we have done in the West University and Amory Park since we met the last time. I think I gave you an update on what was done in Amory Park last time. Let me go with West University first. We did, they have been reviews at 617 East 4th Street for a roof. Another one at 445 East University for handrails. Review for 721 North 2nd Avenue for a solar panel. And a review for 611 East 5th Street for a roof. There was a review that was conducted in West University at the 145 East University for a roof, but that was recommended for denial because corrugated metal roofs are not allowed in West University, and the applicant was proposing to install a corrugated metal roof. I will get together with the applicant to see whether they can change the roof material or not. And there is another review that was done at 717 North 7th Avenue for a fence. The last one is 1030 North Euclid. This one is a retaining wall that is part of the capstone project. Andrew did review this for us and had some comments, which and West University also have some concerns about the demolition of that wall. So I am planning to do a minor review on site with the applicants and representative from West University. I believe that Andrew's comments were very clear. Andrew, you want to talk about this?
Sure. Yeah, this is 1030. It's one of the capstone houses that was left on site. It's like the butter yellow one with the gray roof. But there's a site wall in front, kind of right up on the sidewalk that is, it looks to me like it's gonna be in the expanded right of way. And I look back through some of the capstone presentation materials, and I think it's always kind of been presented as being demolished, but maybe not explicitly. So I don't know what can be done if it's in the right of way, but there are some tile address numbers like embedded in the wall, and I just asked them to provide clear pictures so staff could evaluate if those are like historic materials, and maybe those could be salvaged and reused on site.
Thank you, Andrew. And then the last one that I did, we are reviewing the case at 330 South Scott. This one is in Amory Park. They are proposing to replace the heavy clay tile with the lightweight tiles that have been used at the historic train depot. And I believe, Andrew, you were the one who also took a look at this review for us.
Yeah, I did. They were proposing like a partial replacement. So you're all probably familiar with the building. There's like two gable wings, and then there's a shed roof. And they were gonna replace like one half of each gable roof with like a one-piece clay tile similar to the depot. The building has a two-piece clay tile with like some heavy mortar in between. And the applicant indicated that there was some existing sagging in the roof, and they're kind of looking to maybe reduce the weight of the roofing materials. So I asked them to do some structural assessment to see if there's, underlying issues beyond the weight of the tile. And then I also had concerns about only doing half of the roof with the lighter tile, and that may be causing some eccentricities in the loading of the roof that might exacerbate any existing issues. So I believe they were gonna maybe do the structural assessment and provide us with more info.
Okay.
Yes, subsequent to that, they made it known to us that the structural repairs and assessment is going to be part of a separate permit. At this point in time, they are just interested in doing the roof tiles. So that is being worked on. And also
Okay.
on that same building, we have a request for there are like about 7 signs that are proposed to go on that same building. So that is still under review at this point in time. I just want to note that for the project at 1030 North Euclid, because of a potential conflict of interest, Joe has been helping us with all the minor reviews in West University. So due to that potential conflict, he was not associated with that review. And then if there are any other minor
That was
reviews,
on
I will
10:30, Michael, is that right?
1030.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like, maybe there's some other reviews in that my colleague Jason has undertaken. Jason, do you have any minor reviews to report?
Let me go ahead and turn on my video. So
Yeah, and Jason, unfortunately, we're going to have to be brief because I had reserved up to an hour for 5D, and I'm not going to get it now, and I'm going to lose people that I need to hear that. So let us know about your minor reviews, and I'll try to figure out how to deal with 5D.
I don't have much to say. Minor reviews have been processed fairly quickly, and I will say that thanks to the advisory board members getting comments back to me quickly, as well as PRS members. And that's really all I have to say.
Well, good. So, and then you'll work with people to schedule as needed, correct, for further?
That is correct. And there will be some full reviews coming up on the horizon. I'm just waiting for a resubmit.
Right. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so item 5B is appeals.
No.
Okay, zoning violations.
We're still working on them.
The usual language.
The usual language, Madam Chair.
Okay, so let me get on to 5D. We have 30 minutes before Savannah has to leave. But the main thing is that I've been working on this with Helen and Andrew, and then with Desiree. And there are a number of things that have happened recently that are going to be coming up in the policies and procedures working group meeting tomorrow, and have already been discussed there. And then they will come up in the full commission meeting, which is on September 17th. So I wanted us all to be aware of them on plans review and actually kind of introduce them first here in plans review, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go really quickly. So the working group has been, this is something that Desiree has been sort of tasked to look at when she took the job, and it's to, as part of looking at the review process in general, I think the discussions come around to a minor review process improvement. So what policies and procedures does is they assign people to work together on coming up with ideas. So Andrew and Desiree have been working on this, and they're going to continue to discuss it tomorrow. We'll eventually come to the full commission and will probably be mentioned there at the full commission, but I wanted you all to be aware of it. Andrew, could you give us a few minutes, and then with any Desiree follow-up, just a flavor of what's happening?
Yeah, so this item that Desiree and I are working on is a look at the minor review process and how we can make it more efficient and, reduce unnecessary workload on PRS and the advisory boards for common items that typically have no comments, and that I feel comfortable that staff can review, according to the design guidelines. And then the other component of that is trying to cut down on the backlog of minor reviews and keep them moving through the process faster. And I think that's been happening because of, we have more staff than we have had for a long time. But the hope there, if people can move through the process faster and easier for really common minor projects, I think we're going to get better compliance from property owners and less hesitancy to go through the process the correct way. So I'll turn it over to Desiree just to give you guys an update of kind of where we are with it.
Yeah, but before you start, Desiree, I just want to say that this will also be rolled out to the advisory boards at the appropriate time, because it's still under discussion with policies and procedures, correct?
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll go in front of the advisory boards and the full commission as well. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Desiree?
Yes, thank you. Just add that the process or the mechanism to which we would make these improvements, we don't quite know yet. Short of a full code amendment to our UDC, our zoning code, we don't know if there's like an alternative way to make these processes and implement them more quickly. But there's a possibility that it's going to require a code change. So regardless, there's going to be a process. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for input. We'll be taking this to the advisory boards, as you mentioned, to PRS. We might do community meetings. So this is really just the beginning to start that conversation about what are the ideas and what might we, consider.
Mm-hmm. And we'll certainly want to think more about it, talk to you more about it. But I felt it really should start here because we're the ones that work with the SAM on the minor reviews rather than have it be discussed somewhere else first, right? So thank you. Thank you. So the second bullet under this, city projects, CIPs, bond projects, and administrative directive. I'm going to say that this comes out of really our disappointment with the way that the Santa Rita Park issue was resolved. And but I wanted to point out that and I personally and the commission and others got a lot of flack from externally from the decision that happened, even though we recommended and there was a misunderstanding. I was asked on Labor Day Sunday to send a message, Monday, to send a message to Mayor and Council and Parks and Rec, asking them to put a stop work order on the remaining demolition that had started the Friday before Labor Day. I did get a call from Christina Swallow on Tuesday, and we talked a little bit about what we thought our understanding. It was never my understanding at the last plans review or when we discussed it with them that it would be saved, but just that they would consider it. And, and so everyone was very surprised when it was demolished on Friday, which is sad. But Christina and I had a different view of what the understanding was in that meeting. And so, we did talk on the phone about it, and I had even sent the link in that message I sent to them and to Mayor and Council. And so, but Desiree made a really great point that really would have been helpful at the outset, because everyone was saying that the city didn't follow its own administrative directives and da-da-da, and that I should go stand in front of Mayor and Council and have a, really stand firm on this. And so the fact is that the administrative directive for historic preservation of buildings was written in 1999. It's never been looked at, and it clearly needs some updates and review. However, Desiree pointed out that the city did follow the required process that's listed in that directive. And it speaks to the lack of teeth for non-listed or potentially eligible sites. But technically speaking, the city followed the AD. So, I think in some cases, the city has worked with us or with the preservation community, and others, they visibly haven't, but they really have because they're following the directive. But it's, people, I think, haven't looked at it in a long time. Apparently Jody reviewed the project back in 2024. She flagged for archaeology in a CRS was completed. It was looked at. Additionally, the demo documentation for buildings 50 years plus was completed. And per the AD, the administrative director, that's all the city is required to do, since the park nor any of the listings were designated or listed. So the city attorney's office even confirmed that only designated or listed properties are subject to the AD, and Desiree suggested that this is something we can and should change in a future update, and things like that. So we have to acknowledge that if a building or site is not listed, it's not protected. And there's more here. And so, but there's some other ideas that Desiree has, like collaborating with the HLS on a priority list for designations at park sites. And the final bullet, and I need to get on it because I asked Helen to stay. Poor Helen, she's been here the whole meeting. But to present something she presented to me, you're going to hear about it if you're on policies and procedures, or already have, and you'll hear about it at the full commission meeting. So it's a really great way to give. HLS has done a GIS of parks and evaluated them according to 1, 2, 3, whether they have historic features, character defining features. Christina Swallow's familiar with this. Desiree's spoken with her. There, Jasmine at Parks is would love to have this as sort of a resource to use on their dashboard. Helen would like to see it posted publicly so that it, like the other GIS, is on the park site so that people can see. So, but the point is, it still hasn't been reviewed formally by Desiree, and it's not our decision. I think we should recommend it when it comes time to that, but we need to have her feedback. But I want you guys to see it real quickly, if Helen can share her screen. And thanks, Helen, for your patience. And I've had to gloss over a lot because we have just a few minutes before, and we won't lose the quorum when Savannah leaves, but I don't want to lose Savannah. I want her to hear this too. Okay, are you there, Helen, or did you have to leave us?
I'm here. I'm sitting here looking at more and trying to figure out how to share the screen because.
Sorry, Helen. I just made you co-host, so you should be able to do so now.
Thank you.
Here.
So, Helen, we're just trying to test you on every possible system to see how quick you are.
See if I can find right. Okay, share. Okay, so what I wanted to say, what you're looking at here is the City of Tucson GIS file. If you go to Map Tucson, this is what you find. And just going back to the history of how this sort of developed. In 2012, Armory Park suddenly was decided to be the location of a World War II memorial. It had not been designed for the park. And we found out totally at the last minute they were just going to put a memorial in the park. So the result of this was we developed a working group to look specifically at that time at our parks and try to figure out how we could avoid these last minute crises. And in 2013, we ended up with the Historic Landscape Subcommittee. So one of our projects right at the beginning was to create a list of parks that had historic resources. This list, as Desiree knows, ended up in a file and nobody ever saw it again, pretty much. We revised it once in, I think, 2016 or 2017, but basically it was ineffective for a couple of reasons. What we realized is that you can't just say, okay, Steve Grady and Helen Erickson think that there are historic resources in X parks and come up with that list, that there really had to be a structure. And so the structure that we eventually created for this was to divide parks into categories. In other words, the parks that we know have historic resources. Let's talk about Armory Park, for example. There's no question, okay? Then you have parks that are 50 years old or older, in which forest resources are likely to be present. Anza Park was one of those. And I have to say that that was a situation where the Parks Department reached out to us to discuss this in advance off their own bat. I was very impressed. Then we have a group of parks that have cultural artistic significance, and those could be from any period. They could be from the 80s, but you know, there's sort of a special category. Then we have a watch list. Now with historic resources in general, things that are going to be 50 years old in the next 10 years, we keep an eye on. And so the watch list is parks that may become eligible between 2025 and 2035. And then group 5 parks would be possibly eligible after 2035. So that group needs, just as we look at historic resources, at least every 5 years, we reevaluate. And these cultural resources do not exclude archaeological resources. In other words, archaeological resources have their own projections, which are sort of different. So what we did here was to come up with a list of all the parks in Tucson, of which there are many, I should just mention. I got this list by downloading the data from just sort of scrolling through this list so that you see what we've been looking at here. This data is available right here on the City of Tucson. If you go to the attribute table, what it does, it gives you the list of all of the things that you can find out about parks on this City of Tucson OpenGIS. So, for example, you've got Algernon Park over here, and we rank that at 5. And this list this rank is a column that I added to my version, my downloaded version of the City of Tucson information. Now, the reason it would be really helpful to have this available to everyone is that you can click on any park in Tucson, come up with an ID, and on that ID for, this is a real park, behave the other way, if you won't do that. What you can do, it gives all the information about it. But one of the pieces of information that it gives here is this is a number 1 park. So we know there are historic cultural resources there. That means that when a project starts, all the Parks and Rec people, and I have to say Jasmine is a heroine with this, they just will have to look at their dashboard, which integrates this GIS material, and they'll know right away, this is a park. Well, there's probably no problem here. We don't need to talk to people. But if it's a number 1 or number 2 park, that before the scope is completely laid out, that they should talk to us, because we will be able to head off disaster before it occurs. And we won't end up with these last minute discussions that are really miserable for everybody. So what I would like to see, and I would like to this part of this GIS so anybody can access this information. So questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Savannah.
Okay. Well, I'm on the map Tucson, the city of Tucson GIS right now, and I see Tucson and I see non-city parks, but I don't see, is what you're showing, is that live yet? Has it not been incorporated quite yet?
No, because this is
okay.
Savannah, I downloaded the data.
Oh, okay.
ArcGIS Pro on my computer so that
okay. I got excited. I was like, I want to see it. So okay, I'll wait.
No, but I want it to be there.
Yeah.
So, it's just a very simple thing that anybody wants to know. I mean, there are other information here like Ramadas, who to contact, all of this stuff. If we can also have information, like this is a park that has historic cultural resources in all probability. So talk to people who can help you identify them.
Right. So Helen, what I would suggest, I know Steve is going to make some sort of motion about this or whatever on, at the full commission meeting, but I think really you and Steve need to meet with Desiree, provide her with this, or somehow review it together so that, we don't go down the road and she disagrees with you on some assessment of it or something like that. If we want full city buy-in, it has to be done collaboratively, really. And I think, we know Desiree's supportive, we know Christina is, we know Jasmine is. So I think it's just a step. And, if anyone asks, we'll say, yes, we worked collaboratively, they reviewed it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I think Desiree knows that this, is definitely part of an ongoing working project to improve a lot of things about how we've been doing this.
Right. And then part of it, Desiree, correct me if I'm wrong, if we're just saying that there are unevaluated resources, I mean, some of these places are going to have, they're already listed, right? They're contributors to an HPZ. Some of them are not. So we might get into the same position as we were with Santa Rita Park, that even though, and they would get them evaluated and they would be negative. So I think, until the administrative directive can be reviewed and potentially changed for eligible resources as well. I mean, and Desiree talked about, trying to get funding to actually do a historic resource survey of city parks, rather than have us go to public meetings where we're listened to or not, or do these kinds of things where everybody's on board, everyone knows. Does that make sense?
My whole point here is, number one, Steve and I, who did this, by looking at Google Earth and consulting everything we could remember or find, we could be wrong. But the one point is that the number one and number two parks, at least in terms of date of construction.
Exactly. But yeah, and Helen, don't take this. I'm not saying that you guys made incorrect designations or evaluations of the numbering. I'm saying we need to do all of our due diligence here if we want this to be posted where we want and used like we want, not hidden away.
Yes. Not
right.
hidden.
I mean,
is the key part.
And I can speak to that a bit if that's okay. So yeah, I did have a conversation with our GIS person here in our department, and he already made a mock-up of a map that we could put online. So there are kind of two options. We could put kind of its own map, and that links off of our website. We could also, or do both, put a layer on our GI map Tucson. So that shouldn't be an issue. We should be able to do one or either of those options. And then, yeah, we would love to review it, but just want to thank you, Commissioner Erickson, and the committee members from the Historic Landscape Subcommittee for all of your work. That this will be really helpful, and yeah, just I'm excited about it. I would love to build off of it. So, we could do at some point a cultural resource survey of the parks. I'm hoping we can do that. We just need to find some funding. So yeah, and it would be great too if you could maybe come back later this fall when we have some time, maybe here at PRS, and give a fuller presentation like on some of the parks. I think people would be interested, and people we might want to also open it up for some comments if people have feedback on the rankings and listings. That might be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll kind of going back to the AD, if I can just quickly. So Christina Swallow, the assistant city manager, will be coming to PRS on October 9th on that meeting to talk about the administrative directive and talk about Santa Rita Park, answer any questions. I will say the administrative directive, as a newer staff member here at the city, was confusing to me as well. There is a part of the directive that says potentially eligible resources should be evaluated, but apparently, as I learned, that's referencing archaeological or underground resources, including historic archaeological resources. So there really isn't that same level of review required for above ground, built environment resources. And that was something that was new to me. But with that said, I think our practice that we want to implement, that we're essentially started with Santa Rita Park, albeit late in the game, is that we want to evaluate, 50 years and older, and, other identified potentially eligible parks resources or other city resources. So I think that is a practice we want to do. And I think we've kind of been doing that with, bringing parks to various, to the Historic Landscape Subcommittee and getting input as courtesy reviews. But yes, long term, it really should be reflected in the AD as a requirement, right? Versus a nice to have, right? Because we can always get pushback from the other side. And so far, our city departments are willing to work with us, but it will be better if it's an actual requirement in the AD.
Yeah, and if folks don't have a copy of the administrative directive, I think maybe I could email it out, or you could, Desiree, just so that people have it and need to read it before Christina comes, because we started out, I'm beyond that point of saying we misunderstood totally. It's like, I think they went back and really looked at this, and they're finding this wording that wasn't tight back when it was written in 1999. So these are all things that are tied together, and I know that policies and procedures is also going to look at it, but we also should look at it and talk to Christina. Because not everyone in policies and procedures is as familiar with design review as we are. Clearly, Helen as chair is, and so is Andrew. But I think the more people we can get to look at it from different perspectives will be really valuable. And hopefully we can engage the city and, through you, Desiree, to get them to say, yes, we need to revise this. We need to look at this, right?
But I think part of the problem has been, and Steve and I have been aware of this all the time we've chased around with the Historic Landscape Subcommittee, you can't blame people for what they don't know. And so I feel, in terms of the parks, that we didn't have the system that got the information to them. And so that's why this is so important. It's not just a new evaluation, but there's actually a way to get this information to people now, which it wasn't true,
Right, and to really have the conversation at the proper time. And some of these go way back. That's what Christina and I talked about. Like Santa Rita Park, they put in that bond proposal years ago for it to come out and be completed now. So it's just like it has to be ready at the start of a project. But anyway, I really wanted you to know all this stuff, and we can Desiree and I will work on agendizing when it's time and, when there's certain pinch points, right? And, maybe we could have a fuller meeting with Helen, because it's really difficult to sort of jam these things in, but I wanted to update you all on this. So, and we'll go on to item 6 now, future agenda items. So,
Your hand up still.
oh, who does? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to thank Helen. I think it's really awesome, and I'm excited about it. And my only question is, can we expand it? I mean, is there thoughts to include more parks in Pima County, or even the TUSD parks that are associated with schools, or are those worthwhile, right?
And you would put your finger on something that's very important, because policies and procedures group, we're trying to connect the procedures between the county and the city. And I think that's very helpful for both county and city to have that, cohesion. And I already talked to Courtney Rose, and that was her first thing that she said, can we do it for the county too? Okay. So I think it's spreading.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so, and Ian it'll resonate with Ian because he was wearing a different hat and he came to us for that case in a park, right? So I think it'll be really important. But anyway, before Savannah has to go, I just want to say on future agenda items, Desiree will tell us, but we moved one of the items off of PRS on the 25th and heard it today. It was the Corbett House, because otherwise we would still, like the 25th, whatever, we'd go a long time. So I did us a favor, whether or not you thought it is or not. So Desiree, do you want to give us more info on future agenda items?
Sure. So we should have 4 cases for you at the next meeting, which is kind of a lot, but it was a little lighter this meeting, even though it took the same amount of time. So, but there's a metal carport proposed in El Presidio. There's an ADU in a front yard proposed in Barrio Histórico. There's a code enforcement related case in Barrio as well, that will be coming to you. And then if we get the plans in time, the rehabilitation proposed for the single family home in West University that had some rear additions and a garage and the ADA ramps that you might recall on 2nd Avenue, that could be coming before you as well. So yeah, the next meeting will be mostly like your traditional reviews. And then in October, we'll have Christina Swallow come and present. And you may also hear the All Saints project as well. That one keeps kind of moving back just as the project evolves. But those currently are what's on our list.
Yeah, and
when it's the 25th, right?
Yeah, so is everybody planning to be here on the 25th?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay, and just so you know, Desiree and I really try to talk about how long cases would take. And I guess we misjudged on the Corbett House case.
And the fence. I didn't think it would take that as much
Yeah,
time
well,
as it did.
they're really valuable, and so for different reasons, don't you think?
Yes.
But anyway, thank you, everyone. And does anyone have any questions about future agenda items?
No.
If not, thank you to Helen. Thank you to everyone. And we'll be adjourned at 3. Savannah, just for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And don't forget to send your motion. Okay?
I did. Yeah, I did already.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate you very much. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jason, whoever's still on that I can't see. Okay, bye.